guys want to stay up to date with my exclusive videos, make sure that you click the bell on the side to get notified. Here's the video. What's going on, guys? Chris Bonner here, Overtime Athletes. I have a treat for you guys today. I want to introduce you to my friend here, Andrew Pickwell. Andrew is a professional dunker. Andrew actually hit me up recently because he's came into town. He's doing some vacation. He's actually going over to, you're going to be dunking in Orlando with some
yeah,
practice.
It's just really kind of a relaxed session in Orlando Saturday.
So he'll be practicing here in Orlando. So he stopped by. He's somebody who found me through YouTube in the flight system. And I just felt like, you know, he was an interesting guy. I've been chopping it up with him the past couple days. And I kind of wanted to help you guys in order to provide more value for you guys. I figured I wanted to give kind of an interview style video about his approach. This is a guy who has been on Dunk King, which is a show. It's a show on TNT? Yeah, TNT. Huge. He's a professional dunker. He's actually been on SportsCenter Top 10. And in addition to that, he's played in some different leagues where LeBron James was your coach. So he's somebody who is well versed and experienced, especially in the dunking world. That's his expertise. So Andrew, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you coming down. You know, obviously in regards to dunking, I kind of just, for these people, for my guys who aren't familiar, like if you can, go about how you got into this whole realm of professional dunking.
Right. So I started off like a lot of kids on the channel. I played high school basketball, and I kind of noticed I had, you know, just a general jumping ability. I would stay after practice and dunk. And actually in college, I didn't go play basketball, but I was a high jumper. And that translated very well to dunking. I'm actually a 1-foot style jumper. So that's usually how I perform most of my dunks.
Right. Okay. And then you kind of like, you know, as you basically went along, you realized, man, I'm pretty good at this. And then what, the contest just started, you know, popping up, or, you know, how was it? When did you realize, like, I'm gonna get into this? I know because you got a lot of friends in the scene. Right. What was it that like kind of got you and realized, hey, I can take this to a different level?
Well, I definitely followed Team Flop Brothers, which is, you know, probably one of the most well-known dunking organizations in the world. Till about my sophomore year, when I was high jumping, I decided I want to give it a try, and you know, I went to a kind of a local contest. It was about 3 hours away in Charlotte, and I did pretty well. I got second place and got some prize money, and unfortunately, I had to give up high jump just for prize money, just NCAA regulations. But yeah, I really wanted to pursue it from then on out. Okay, yeah, and really started focusing more on my technique and my skill versus, you know, just trying to jump higher. You know, so. You know, coming at it more of a dunking approach. Right,
exactly. So you focus more on technique, and I've talked to these guys about it, and I found that interesting. We were talking the other day, and I was asking you, like, what's your, you know, like, what's your approach going into a contest? And a lot of these guys have asked me, like, how do I do particular dunks? And I suggested to them, hey, if you're gonna learn that actual skill, lower the hoop and actually practice that particular skill, whether that be a windmill or something of that nature. And you kind of relayed the same thing. So if you can, just give me a little insight into, like, say you're going into a contest and you want to be able to prepare one particular dunk. Like, what was your approach to that in training?
Well, you know, if you're good enough to start doing tricks, I would suggest the perfect height for me was about 9 inches low, anywhere from 9'3" to 9'6". That would simulate how high I'm actually getting with adrenaline or in front of a crowd, a video camera, if you will. I would suggest probably lowering the goal to about 9'6", obviously.
Yeah. Maybe even possibly lower, you know what I mean, if they can't dunk or if they need to get familiar with it. To be honest with you, I always just notch it down to one on you know, I mean, if I'm using one of the playground ones, not the playground ones, but you know, the ones that you buy, you know, just knock it down and really, you know, you have it down to a science. Really what they're, you know, need to do is essentially just be able to lower it to a comfort level where they can get it. And here's the other thing. You lowered it because you know you can get that high easily. You lowered it because you want to conserve yourself. You know what I mean? You're doing this at a high level. This would be equivalent to somebody coming in and squatting 100% every day. So you have to kind of conserve yourself in your training, and that's why you lowered it as well.
It's also kind of the same approach I had when I was a high jumper. You know, my full step approach was coming in 11 steps. And the way all high jumpers train, you know, we start at 3 steps. You know, say if my maximum jump is 6'10", 7 foot, we'll lower it probably to 6 foot and go 3-step approach and a 5-step approach for practice. And that's, you know, so you're not wearing out your knees. And also, something else I would say for people who are trying to dunk would be that don't raise it too high to where you're losing form on your jump. You know, if you're getting your knees, like Chris teaches, out too far over your toes and putting too much stress on your knees, you know, really trying to just, you know, aggressively jump through it and using the wrong form, that's something I would not advise as well.
Got you. Because over time, it ends up breaking down your body, and that's something you experience. I mean, like you said, he's a 1-foot jumper, so you take the sheer stress on that knee being a 1-foot jumper all the time. And not only that, people don't realize the momentum and the power that they're getting horizontally. So a lot of times you're building up a lot of steam. Now you're transferring that horizontal into something more vertical and horizontal. So it's like that sheer stress in that knee, and you experience that.
That's exactly right. And something I would say for people who are trying to jump 1 foot is take care of your knees. That's the #1 rule. Like he's saying, when you're coming off 1 foot, you're basically going, all that force is going right over that tendon. Versus a 2-step, you can really sit back, get those hips back, and use more posterior train. You know, so definitely manage your knees.
And that's something you didn't realize. I mean, when you're young at this age and you're jumping, it's one of those things that you're like, I'm gonna do this forever. And you being a competitive, you were a 1 foot. You know, somebody who's a basketball who comes in and approaches it, you know, they're playing from all angles, so they're getting stress on both knees. This is somebody who, you know, translated from a high jumper to a professional dunker, so you have to think the amount of reps that he was putting on that one particular knee, sprinting forward, then coming vertical, was probably 10 times the amount of what a basketball player costs. And that's when you started developing a little bit of tendonitis. That's when it started kind of breaking down a little bit. And that's what you were discussing with me before.
So most jumpers are going to be pretty familiar with jumper's knee. Back when I was, you know, in my prime jumping off 1 foot, I was not very careful going off, like he said, going off so many repetitions, thousands of pounds each time you're jumping. And that's actually, I wanted to try to start jumping 2 foot, and that's actually where I found Chris, Overtime Athletes. I was trying to find a vertical jump program that, you know, caters to a 2 foot jump approach and also the correct form, which is, you know, staying back, using those glutes. They're there for a reason when you're jumping. You know, a lot of jumpers are going to be quad dominant, and that's for injury's sake.
And so that's what led you into, you know, you made note of it earlier that you actually did the flight system, and that's kind of what you did to transition over to a 2 foot jumper. Tell me about your experience with that.
So yeah, I've actually done the flight system 2 times. I've probably increased my standing vertical about 4 inches, which for me is actually a lot.
I mean, because you're at elite level.
Exactly. So some guys just coming in might experience 8 to 12 inches. That might not be too far out. But, the one thing I love about the flight system is that obviously it has its plyometrics, but it's not starting you out on plyometrics like some other programs do. Even on an elite level, your body is not ready for that quick stretch shortening cycle to get the most from it. What I love about the flight system is that it spends, you know, 4 weeks on the slow eccentric building up your weight and your time down into the hole. And also 4 weeks isometric, which is probably my favorite phase because it's so neglected. And then after that, that's 8 full weeks getting you ready when you can just finally fire, bang, bang, bang. That's when you can start working on the stretch shortening cycle and the plyometric side of it.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
I absolutely love. So.
Cool, man. I appreciate you sharing that. That's exciting. You know, if there's anything else, I want you guys to know you're in Tennessee, right? Tennessee, and Andrew's actually a strength and conditioning coach himself, and he's been working with basketball players for quite some time. So if you guys are in the Tennessee area, I urge you guys to follow him. We'll go ahead and put your Instagram on the side here, and any kind of contact information. And man, I appreciate you coming on and helping us out and helping these guys out. Do you have anything else as far as, you know, that you want to mention?
Y'all need to understand something. A 44-inch vertical jump is not normal. You know, I'm around almost all of the professional dunkers you see on TV or on Instagram, and there's only one that might have a 44-inch standing vertical jump. And most of you guys actually might know him, Jonathan Clark, out in LA. You can check him out. He can basically stand under the goal flat-footed, go up and, you know, East Bay, honey dip, and this is all from standing, which is incredible. So I mean, like, 44 inches, guys. Y'all don't need to sleep on that. That's crazy.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate it. Yo, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in increasing your vertical jump or becoming an overall more explosive athlete, go ahead and sign up for my advanced vertical series. It's actually free, where I send you lessons each day for the next 5 to 10 days, basically covering everything that you need to be able to get a higher vertical jump. I'll see you inside.